there! For years I've wanted to make some kind of Pokemon content, but with my PC having very little storage and just always not having the right time to do so, I figured I'd just talk about some of my favourites. Initially this was going to be my 10 favourite Pokemon, but there's just so much that I want to say and so many Pokemon that I wish to talk about that I kinda had to make it a top 20. I almost made it a top 25, but I can't go that far. I'm gonna give a disclaimer right now that my list is not based on who I like for their power. I have a lot of personal stories here, so my list might be a little bit different to the average, I don't know. But I guess that we all play Pokemon in different ways and for different reasons, so maybe this is a little insight into that. Who knows? Okay, with all said and done, let's kick things off with number 20. Mismagius. Halloween is my favourite holiday of the year, so of course I'd love a witch Pokemon. Mismagius is often one of the pillars of my spooky teams I like to make, and with such a simple yet cool design, I always look forward to using one. That's kind of it, no notes, I really love this Pokemon. Also, is it Mismagius or Mismagius? Because they say Mismagius in the anime, but I hear everybody else say Mismagius. It's probably Mismagius, right? Number 19. Oshawott. No matter what generation you started playing Pokemon, you always remember your starter for one reason or another. And while Chimchar was technically my first, it wasn't my choice. Whereas when I started White, Oshawott was my choice, and I just fell in love with it in an instant. Me and Oshawott conquered the Unova region together back in my first playthrough of White, and it's a memory I hold very dearly. Plus, it's an otter! A Pokemon otter! What more could you want? Number 18. Latios and Latios. Okay, I guess I'm technically cheating with this one, but they kind of go hand in hand, so like just let me have this. Latios and Latios were my first ever favourite legendaries, and it was purely because of Pokemon Heroes. At the time of my first watch, I never expected to love a legendary Pokemon so much, especially after I was bored with the Arceus and the Jewel of Life movie. But Pokemon Heroes did it differently for me back then. It had a cute legendary duo and an ending that always used to make me cry. I'm not sure how well the movie holds up now I'm an adult, but the ending I know for sure will hit the same. They're just cute little jet plane babies, and as someone who used to travel a fair bit to see relatives, it all comes hand in hand for me, so I don't know. Cute little planes. Number 17. Noivern. Back when X and Y first came out, I was introduced to the world of online Pokemon trades and battles, because for some reason my DSi wouldn't connect to any Wi-Fi, so until I got a 3DS, I was oblivious. Anyways, not long into my first playthrough of X, I decided to wonder trade most of my team away and play with whatever Pokemon I got, and one of those Pokemon was Noivern, and it was a beast. Noivern was a great helping hand in tough situations, and where my Altaria couldn't do anything, Noivern came through. It was also a great introduction to a Kalos Pokemon I probably wouldn't have seen before, because back in my early playthroughs, there was a lot less emphasis on catching Pokemon and just getting the gym badge. But I'm glad that I did that Wonder Trade, because I've had a brilliant team throughout it, and Noivern was surely a standout for the entire time. It's also a gigantic bat, which is always cool as hell in my books, and appropriately Halloween themed. Number 16. Gourgeist. I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan of Gourgeist's design as a whole, especially when you compare it to Pumpkaboo being all cute and cat-like. Is it supposed to be like a girl and a pumpkin? Kinda looks like one of the Mopsy sisters from Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know. That aside though, Gourgeist is one of the better spooky Pokemon to use in X and Y, and the size and gimmick this line carries allows for slightly different stats, which is a cute little feature that I'm glad they carried through. I can't speak too much on Gourgeist right now though, because it would spoil a project that I've been working on for quite a while, so just know that I think it's cool, it's got pretty decent power, and it's spooky, so good in my books. Number 15. Ivysaur. I may not have started playing Pokemon with red, blue and yellow, but any chance I get to pick between the Kanto trio, I always choose Bulbasaur. I have always loved Bulbasaur, and Ivysaur even more so. The small yet cool changes Ivysaur has really makes it stand out, but in a cool way. I'll always love Venusaur, of course, but Ivysaur is just by far the coolest in its line, looking ready to battle, but also like it would be a great friend to you. And look at the little plant on its back. It's my favourite little frog. In my first Pokemon X playthrough, I picked a Bulbasaur, and I actually kept it as an Ivysaur right until the end of the game where I kind of felt like I had to evolve it, but Ivysaur more than pulled its weight, and it was really great at helping me catch Pokemon with Sleep Powder. I'm glad to see that the Bulbasaur line is getting more love these days because people used to always just pick between Charmander and Squirtle, but now I hope that Ivysaur gets the love that it deserves because it's so cute, so cool, and friendly. Bonus points for its shiny being yellow. Number 14. Sylveon. Because of a lot going on in my life, I never fully got to experience a build-up to a Pokemon game until X and Y, so any piece of news and speculation had me on the edge of my seat for months building up to its release, and with the new fairy typing being announced, my hype only grew, especially when it was announced that Eevee would be getting a new evolution. Well, X and Y arrived along with Sylveon, and I was not disappointed. Sylveon was a solid addition to the evolutions, and to teams as a whole. It was also a great introduction to Pokemon and me with the way that you evolve Eevee into Sylveon. It made me fall more in love with the game and the fairy typing itself. I know X and Y isn't something to write home about these days, but I'll never forget the hype leading up to it and how Sylveon was a big part of that. And yet again, awesome shiny. Number 13. Rockruff. If you've been watching my Twitch streams or content for the past couple of years, you know how much I love my dogs. And while Rockruff doesn't necessarily look like either of them, it certainly acts like my youngest dog, Pixie. Anytime I see Rockruff in Scarlet and Violet, I can't help but think about my own little dog and how our dynamic parallels that of a trainer and a Pokemon. Plus, Rockruff is as cute as can be when it comes to dog Pokemon. Its fluffy little tail to its teeny weeny ears and even its cry. It's just so adorable and I always have to stop and say hi to them on any Pokemon journey. Number 12. Primarina. The Popplio line gets criminally clowned on, and I'm here to show my love for it. Any of my Sun and Moon playthroughs that weren't themed always led to me picking Popplio purely for Primarina. It's so elegant yet so cute, and it packs quite a punch. Almost similar to Sirens themselves, I guess. Its signature move, Sparkling Aria, is also really cool and fits thematically as well. I'm a sucker for mythical ocean creatures like sirens and mermaids, so of course Primarina was going to be my go-to, but that does not diminish my love for Popplio and Brionne. Number 11. Florigato. Honestly, I'm quite shocked Florigato made it this high in the list, but thinking back to my Violet experience, it just makes sense. Leading up to Scarlet and Violet's release, there were a lot of pleads from friends to keep Sprigatito's next evolutions on 4 legs, and not 2, kinda similar to Litten. Of course this didn't happen, but in a way I'm kinda glad it didn't. Florigato is the right size for a little companion. It looks so cute and yet also quite mean when it needs to face trouble. It also really reminds me of the Palico from Monster Hunter Rise in more ways than one, so I think just having that parallel with me really made me want to keep it out of its ball way more than I did with Meowscarada. I loved using my Florigato and even bred for more just so I could have a little picnic with them all. I feel like I haven't explained enough, but sometimes you can't just help but love the little guys. You know, I just think they're kinda neat. Number 10. Eevee. Oh, Eevee. Where would I be without you? Eevee has been one of my most favourite Pokemon since I was a kid. A cute little fox that can evolve into different forms? That's amazing! I can evolve it based on what my team needs or what I need. But even before all that, it's just so adorable and a perfect partner Pokemon for your journey. Every time it made an anime appearance, I'd get hyped like it was Sailor Saturn making an appearance. My words can't describe how much I adore this fluffy little bean. I'll always love it and its evolutions, whether it's weak or not. Eevee was also my first shiny Pokemon ever. Back when I was learning all the different shiny hunting methods, I attempted the Masuda method and I thought, well, why not an Eevee? Because I would love to make one of its evolutions shiny. And sure enough, after 2.5 weeks of breeding, I got my perfect little shiny Eevee. I know the colour doesn't change that much, but I just think a small silver little fox looks so cute. So I'll always look at Eevee so fondly for many different reasons. Number 9. Chandelure. When Gen 5 first dropped, I honestly didn't care about Chandelure. I was a kid who loved wolves, foxes, and meerkats. Why would some furniture interest me? It wasn't until I got to the Elite Four and faced a tough time with Chantal's that I started to give it more respect. Then years down the line, I used it in my trial spooky team, and it more than proved its worth. Now whenever I see a Litwick or a Lampent, I catch it immediately knowing how awesome it will be. I'd love to use it more in future teams, but I guess that's more so up to where you can find it. Number 8. Vaporeon. As I mentioned not too long ago, Eevee has always and will always be one of my favourite Pokemon, and the same can be said for Vaporeon. When I used to watch the Indigo League, one of my favourite episodes was the Battling Eevee brothers, purely for showcasing all the evolutions at the time. Of course, the one that stood out to me the most was Vaporeon, because its ability to dissolve into water blew my mind and it instantly won me over. Not to mention its design yet again is cute yet cool. It's adorable, but it can also be fierce when it needs to be. I guess it kind of reminds me of how Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon is designed. The cute but fierce look that can kind of be interchangeable in a sense. Not only did that make me think that Vaporeon was cool, but I've also naturally loved swimming, and I could swim since I could remember. I always thought when I was younger that if I was to be a gym leader, I'd be a water type, and while I don't necessarily think that these days, I know that if I was to be one, Vaporeon would be on my team. But whether I'm a gym leader or a trainer, anytime I'm looking to change up my team and don't possess a water Pokemon, you best believe I'm slapping a Vaporeon in there. Number 7. Lycanroc. Much like Rockruff, Lycanroc's midday form reminds me of another dog I knew, although sadly this one has since passed. Slightly resembling a border collie and a wolf, Lycanroc also won me over instantly within my first Sun and Moon playthrough. My little Mina was a hard worker and great companion through thick and thin. I always thought of her as my second starter, as odd as that probably sounds, but what really gets to me is the little messages like, Mina toughed it out for you so you wouldn't feel sad. You mean you did that for me? I know this isn't exclusive to just Lycanroc, but it was my Mina who gave me the message the most within my playthrough, and even in my Violet playthrough. There's just something about the Rockruff line resembling dogs of my past and present, looking super adorable and always feeling like a buddy that I cherish so much. They are hands down the best Pokemon dogs to date, and I will forever love them for that, whether I use them in battle or I just bring them out for picnics every once in a while. Number 6. Meowstic. Love it or hate it, Gen 6 brought us some cool Pokemon, and Meowstic is no exception. Having both a male and female form, Meowstic swaps the dynamics a lot of other gendered Pokemon have. This time, the female is offensive, while the male is defensive, which is really awesome. I love my strong, independent women. They both look like they mean business and certainly deliver on it. Their sleek designs really fit in with the Kalos region as well, and both look great color-wise. Also, their shiny forms are even better. They're yellow! And they're not like an awful yellow, they're a really, really nice lemony yellow. That's such a win for me. I love my psychic kitties, and I will use them to the end. Number 5. Pumpkaboo. Like I said at the start of this list, I love Halloween, so of course a pumpkin would make it to the list. But not just a pumpkin. A cat-like pumpkin. Amazing. Pumpkaboo also has the really cool size gimmick that I mentioned with Gourgeist. You can search the grass for 4 different sizes, and every time it gets bigger, the stats get a little bit stronger, which is cool. They really fumbled with not letting you horde hunt Pumpkaboo though. Like, it would be like going to a Pumpkaboo patch. How do you miss that out, Game Freak? Please bring horde hunting back. Oh well. Pumpkaboo is so cute, and while it preferably needs to be evolved for it to stand a chance in the later game, I still love using one regardless, and you best believe I'm on my way to shiny hunt for one. One day you will be mine, shiny Pumpkaboo. Number 4. Samurott. Pokemon Black and White were the first Pokemon games I ever fully completed, so of course my starter would be so dear to me. I was so absorbed in my playthrough that I felt physically transported into Unova. My starter wasn't the first Pokemon I got, it was the first friend I made. We grew together and faced every single challenge head on. My Oshawott was by my side, disadvantage or not, and that carried through right till the end. And when Duat evolved into Samurott, I felt so powerful and nearly unstoppable for most major battles. We started the journey together and grew as one, and it's not really a feeling I've had since. It could be because I've gotten older now, and even though I try, I don't get as immersed as I first did. But Samurott holds so many memories for me, both personal and not, that I always feel great love when I see it, and it's so great to use it again in Legends Arceus. I'm not sure how or when I'll be able to put my original Samurott onto the Switch, but as soon as I do, we're having a picnic together. Number 3. Esper. When I first ran into Esper, I knew I had to catch one and put it on my team. It was just so cute, yet also a little traumatized looking, which made for a lot of great memes. But what really won me over was the X and Y episode, Seeking Shelter from the Storm. I love a good spooky Pokemon episode, but nothing prepared me for this one. Ash, Serena, Bonnie, and Clement find an abandoned mansion and run inside for cover. You know, the episode title. In their time there, they start to suspect the mansion is haunted, but Bonnie finds out it wasn't Esper all along. The Esper was keeping them there because it wants them to help find this old lady who used to look after it and let it play in the mansion. She even let Esper wear the pendant her late husband gave to her. After a Team Rocket battle, a woman enters the mansion. She reveals herself as the old lady's niece and tells Esper that she had sadly passed away. By the end of the episode, the woman takes Esper to the old lady's grave to say its goodbyes, and it's just so heartbreaking. This episode goes from silly to sad so quick that I can't help but love it. My poor traumatized little baby. Number 2. Mimikyu. This was a really tough choice, but Mimikyu just misses out on the top spot for reasons I'll mention soon. When I first saw Mimikyu, I knew I would fall in love with it. Its cute little costume made by a cute little creature that we're not even allowed to see. It's adorable. And when you find out that Mimikyu wants to be loved just like Pikachu, you just can't help but feel sympathy for it. This sweet little thing just wants to be loved, and I think that's something we can all relate to at some point in our lives. Mimikyu also had a brilliantly creepy introduction in Sun and Moon, and was a pretty difficult totem to fight. I felt such accomplishment when I had managed to defeat the totem Mimikyu. It was insane. Its busted form is also really handy if you get one on your team, and its shiny is awesome too. Like, it's just black and white, but it looks so cute. It's very spooky. There's just so much to love about Mimikyu, no matter what angle you approach it from. It's one of the cutest, spooky Pokemon out there, and I love to use it on my teams going forward. I also have done a Mimikyu picnic as well, because when I just love a Pokemon so much, the bright idea is to just picnic with it, you know? Number 1. Umbreon. For as long as I can remember, Umbreon always fascinated me. Its sleek design that had parts that could glow in the night, those bright red eyes. Whenever I had internet, I would always be searching for information on how I could possibly get one in my current playthrough of Heart Gold. It should be noted that I was an undiagnosed dyslexic child at the time, so being able to make my way to Bill's house in Goldenrod and read any kind of forum was a struggle for me. But I didn't care, because I wanted my Dark-type evolution, and after hours of trying and some misguided attempt at the breeder's home, I finally got it. The mysterious Moonlight Pokemon was mine. Umbreon was the Pokemon that got me deep into Pokemon research when I could. The driving force to have one just kept me going, and even beyond that I found newer things. It was Umbreon that helped me discover shiny Pokemon and develop a deep love for the hobby. It also helped me discover the different ways a Pokemon could evolve, whether it's through time of day or using rocks like you would for Leafeon and Glaceon. So much of my real beginnings in Pokemon were due to my insane love for Umbreon. Its simplistic design, its ambiguous species, although I've always felt it was more of a dog. The fact that it lights up and is used as a torch sometimes, it's just so cool. It's not the strongest evolution by default, but I will always make time to train one and fit it into my team if I can in my playthroughs. And if not, it becomes a post-game activity. My love for Umbreon started off as just, I think this nighttime looking Pokemon is cool, and it just evolved into everything, showing me different things about Pokemon. It's insane how much it's tied to my early years of playing, and I have no doubt that it will be tied to many more years of playing. I'm glad that I can get Umbreon in every generation of Pokemon, because I would truly be lost without it. If I was in the Pokemon realm, Umbreon would probably be my starter. I just have so much love that I feel like I can't get out, but hopefully you understand. Also, really cool shiny. So, as of recording this, those are my top 20 Pokemon. I had such a hard time narrowing it down and ordering it that I'm still unsure of certain places, but maybe that can be a video to update in the future. This list has helped me realize that a lot of my favorite Pokemon are, I like this because it looks spooky, or I have an insanely deep love for this Pokemon and I always have. And it's quite cool that this has happened. It's like the saying goes, every Pokemon is somebody's favorite Pokemon, and it's really quite beautiful. I know I've probably not had any weird takes in my list, but it still rings true. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe getting to know me a little better. I'll be floating around on the Discord or Blue Sky or something like that, so you can follow me there if you feel like it. I'll be back sometime with something, so stay tuned.